I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me.
Hello friends, I'm the Dyslexic Cosplayer, and I think it's time we take a look at StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. And we're about to get all of the plot in a very condensed amount of time. Pretty much everything you've seen so far has been building up to this, so strap in. So it's finally time that we deliver all those artifacts we've been collecting to the Mobius Foundation. However... what the... Dominion warships! Everyone to your battle stations! Jim, you better get below! That's Mink's flagship. I can't have you doing anything stupid. Name, middle, stupid, man. Is. Surely you're not planning on trying to board that ship?
Aw, hell, of course he is. And don't call him Shirley.
And the cinematic of them boarding the ship is just gorgeous. Blizzard really does know how to do their cinematics when they want to. When they want to. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Warcraft Reforged. You thought you were gonna get off easy? Aw, hell no.
Round turn. Back shoot my, not me.
It's pronounced turn around, I don't mind shooting you in the back. Besides, you're too drunk to hit me, Commander. I am Valerian Minsk, and I would not advise shooting me. That's why. It's pronounced wise that, because I can give you what you want. I can help you save Kerrigan from being the Queen of Blades. Dun dun dun! So over a voiceover, we find out that Mobius Corp was actually a front for Valerian to gather up these artifacts without his father being aware of it. The Zelnaga artifact apparently is capable of removing the infestation that has made Kerrigan into the Queen of Blades, turning her back into a human. Mostly. Obviously, this is a deal with the devil situation, since it was his father that got Kerrigan turned into the Queen of Blades, but since we don't really have any other better options, and Zarathul warned us it would be the end of the universe if we didn't, we decided to go along with this plan. But first, it's probably a good idea to get that adjutant looked at from last time. Matt, alright. Plan what is? Well, Jim, besides having you eat raw coffee until you sober up, hopefully the hacker can crack it open and find out what the adjutant knows. Incoming transmission.
Hello, James. Good news and bad news. Good news is hacker crack adjutant. Bad news, he planned to sell to Dominion. Hire me to kill you. In the meantime.
All that bad news sounds like.
Ah, Jim, you do well as Russian. Well, good news is I like you and my husband better. Is Matthew there? I want to give him a kiss.
Nope. Went out, cigarettes go get.
Ah, it's too bad. But if you want my services, you'll still have to pay me. I suggest going to the junkyard and finding valuable ship parts to pay me with. Until next time, James.
Still can't believe your wife that is. Don't remind me. So in a weird version of Junkyard Wars, we have to go around gathering up all the most valuable trash to bribe Mira with, as well as finding pieces of Protoss technology to sell to the Mobius Corporation. But isn't that Valerian? Why couldn't you just give us all the money we need now? Ah, whatever. Eventually, Max's wife's reinforcements join us, and we're able to pretty much curb stomp our way to the hacker's base. Until he decides to start dropping nukes on us. Definitely have to say, as someone who's been the nuker and now the nuke-e, definitely rather be on the other side of this equation. Yeah. But we're eventually able to overcome his physical firewall, and he cries uncle and gives us back our adjutant. Alright, you bucket of bolts. What kind of secrets do you got locked up inside that head of yours?
Replaying intercepted transmission.
General Minsk, we've placed the psi emitters to lure the Zerg down to Tarsonis. But won't that kill thousands of civilians as well as Kerrigan? That's fake news, my friend. That's fake news. Some species see killing thousands of their own as a flaw. I see it as a badge of honor. So let the Zerg kill them all. And Kerrigan too. Worst case, they lock her up. I will see this universe burn before I let space Mexicans cross the border.
Did I just date this video horribly by that joke's inclusion? Nah. But with that revelation out of the way, we go to do some work for Valeria.
Commander, my Mobius Foundation has located a Zelnaga ship containing the last piece of the artifact.
That's great news. Why do I feel a butt coming?
Well, the ship is infested with Tal'Darim, and...
Yep, there it is.
It's also not my fault that the ship's void shields are still there and will tear your ships to pieces if they come too close. You'll have to take them out with your battle cruisers, which I'm willing to reinforce with my own supply.
Oh, hell, Jimmy. I know that I'm an orc player and I love me some DACA, but come on, this seems like a really bad plan.
I seem to remember you starting this.
Jimmy, my life's philosophy has always been that of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem in Muppet Treasure Island. Just play the gig, man. Never get involved in politics.
Takis, I think you've been in that armor long enough it's pickled your brains. I'll lead in a revolution. If you can't take it, then you better sit this one out.
You know what? I think I liked you better when you were drunk.
And finally, we get my favorite high-tier unit in the entire game, the Battle Cruiser. In D&D terms, this thing is a tank, taking tons of damage and with a powerful Yamato cannon able to blast single structures out of your way. So we go around blasting the shield generators until the Tal'Darim get annoyed at us and decide to break out the big guns. We got those too. Not only do we have the Battle Cruiser, but we have the Hercules. An infinitely better version of the medevac since it can carry way more troops and take a lot more damage. Also, I want to commend the map designers that worked on this, putting so much detail into a single-use map. And just look at this. Look at this. I don't know what this is doing. I don't know why it's here. But it's so cool. I don't care. I'd argue this is a much better use of your art department rather than making more sprays for Overwatch, just so you have something to put in the loot crates. But at any rate, with enough patience and overwhelming firepower, we're eventually able to attain the last piece of the artifact. Huzzah! However, back up on the ship... See, this is why I dub stuff occasionally. This might be saved from YouTube's copyright system, but I ain't taking that chance. So you'll just have to settle for the copyright-free stuff I've got floating around. This is ridiculous! I can't believe that we're working with the Dominion like we're some kind of lapdogs. I'll join this revolution to fight the Dominion. That's enough of that, lad. You're likely to lose your head if you keep it up. We're following the commander from here to hell and back. If he decides to do this, we better trust him.
That's the worst Scottish accent I heard, you frickin' dwarf Maine.
Best not be making fun of me, Maine, or else we'll settle this in Iron Forge. A few moments later. Alliance forever!
Horde red or dead?
The Kung Fu Pandas sucked.
Oh, you've done it now, Jimmy. I'm gonna have to teach you some manners. Why'd you do it, Jimmy? We were making good money. Then you had to go get involved in politics.
BFA was the best expansion.
For the Horde!
Seriously, Takis, what the hell's going on?
Wouldn't understand Alliance trash.
Dude, seriously? I play RuneScape. This is even... Oh, no, you don't. Don't you do it.
Don't do something that you're gonna regret, Takis.
I hate you, Jimmy, and I want you to die! That sure showed him. Oh, that's not a good feeling.
Alright, the rest of you got beef with me? Hell, Commander, I can't say I'm very fond of your new friendship with the Dominion. It's not a friendship with the Dominion. It's about standing up for what's right and doing what's right by your friends. Valerian represents real change that we can count on. And if you don't trust my judgment, you don't trust me to lead you. But if you stay, I promise I'll show you a brighter future. It's not I've got a dream, but I guess it'll have to do in a pinch. Alright, Takis, listen up. I know we've had our differences, but you
better get over them mighty quick. I ain't got time for this kind of stupidity. And fix my jukebox while you're at it. I wonder if there's some other reason Tychus was grumpy. Anyway, shortly after that, we actually learned something a little bit interesting about Tychus. Apparently, he cannot take that armor off. He's literally stuck wearing it all the time. In addition, whoever gave him that armor also gave him a rather nasty explosive that can be detonated remotely. So, he's literally wearing his own prison and his own means of execution if somebody doesn't like what he's doing. Afterwards, we end up learning about a secret weapon that's being developed by the Dominion, the Odin, a super heavy mech suit designed for siege breaking. And maybe because of old times or a feeling of guilt for the fight at the bar, Raynor sends Tychus down to help with the retrieval team to capture it. Few RTS games can provide really good characterization like this, but they succeed magnificently here. Tychus is controlled by an allied faction and just charges off blindly, heedless of any danger. It's literally up to you to try and run along behind him and try and keep him from getting himself killed because he's so foolhardy. I like that. Eventually, you're able to actually find the Odin, and Tychus decides to commandeer it for the good of the rebellion. I really think that giving a orc player a real-life big stompa is a bad plan, but Jimmy goes along with it, at least for the time being. The second part of this mission is really cool. You get access to ships that can cloak themselves, and you have to go along ahead of the Odin and try and clear out some of the major obstacles that might give the Odin trouble before the Odin comes along and decides to wreck house, adding a different layer of strategy that you don't get with most other levels. And it's here that we can see the amount of fun you'll have on a given mission is proportional to the amount of nukes you have access to. Nova, I believe, gets 3 nukes. Tosh, on the other hand, he gets 5 nukes. The hacker that we end up fighting earlier has 1 nuke, but he's your enemy, so no fun there to be had. And yes, by this point in the missions, I've unlocked Spectres and could have dropped my own nukes, but it's better when they're free. And in this mission, Tychus is the only one who gets nukes. So, honestly, it's kind of a bust. Even the ship you get, you'll never reuse because it's so specialized, it's not very helpful.
Oh, hell, Jimmy, that was a lot of fun. We should do that more often.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch you do that bull in the china shop thing you do so well.
Oh, Jimmy, just show me Mink's China shop and I'll make sure it's nothing but pieces by the time I'm done with it.
Mr. Raynor, I should probably warn you, the spirits say your friend is troubled.
Tosh, no disrespect, but no duh. He graduated top of his class at Trouble University. I kinda knew that already.
The spirits say this is a friendship-ending level of mistrust. Be very careful, Mr. Raynor. There are forces at work here that even I don't understand.
It's in the next mission we learn part of why we had to steal the Odin. It's so we could use it as camouflage to get Tychus in it down onto the planet's surface of the new Dominion homeworld. And by allowing Tychus to engage in his wanton violence and destruction, he can cause enough chaos and destruction to allow us to gain access to some of the major satellite relays and broadcast that recording of Manx's crimes so that we can cause a lot of confusion in the Dominion for a bit. The start of the mission is pretty cool, letting you control the Odin for the first time, and your basic goal is to go around and sow as much destruction and chaos at the 3 various bases on the map as quickly as possible, allowing you to take them a little bit easier once you start the main mission proper. It's also here that we get our Rebellion's bootleg equivalent of the Odin, the Thor, a smaller version that's easier to produce, and I think generally helped with the game balance. Especially since the old school version of the Thor was more of a building that you required an SEV to construct, rather than being a unit that was produced at one of your factories. I kind of missed this, but I understand why they probably had to do it to prevent it from being spammed way too quickly. But while we're going around causing as much mayhem and destruction as possible, we end up finding this little relic from the old games. Huh. I wonder what kind of secrets are hidden inside of there.
Oh, interesting.
But with a little bit of work, we're able to get the signal out, and Minsk is caught red-handed. And people don't take it very well, apparently. Which you can tell by some of the frantic news broadcasts back up on the ship. I just want to ask, though, what is going on in this frame? As far as I can tell, it is Nova riding Max as he's free-falling? I love Blizzard animators when they slip in little Easter eggs like this. We now go to a live broadcast from Supreme Leader Minsk.
How do you respond to James Raynor's claims that you killed thousands?
That was a very mean question, very mean. I deny everything. Oh, really? Does that mean that you deny these reports? Why don't you sit down, miss? It's all fake news by the liberal Zerg media. It's all a hoax. Oh, really?
Some species see killing thousands of their own as a flaw. I see it as a badge of honor. So let the Zerg kill them all.
Yeah, I know my impression of Lord God Emperor Cheeto I is pretty bad, but still, we've managed to accomplish some good, and we can see that Meng's regime is starting to crumble around it. So yeah, I recognize spoiler warnings are kind of redundant this far into the review series, but this was an Easter egg meant for people to find, so skip to the time code provided, and everybody else, enjoy! So it turns out those weird documents we found at the research center tell of a special lab located in the middle of nowhere, with no records of what kind of research they were doing there other than it's incredibly top secret. So Raynor, being Raynor, decides to go and investigate. So after politely knocking, we get down to work, and this is definitely one of the highlights of the game. You can hack security terminals to overcome challenges, like what units you want to fight when you break down the door. When confronted by a heavily fortified position, you can activate a robot and choose its weapon loadout so that it can provide you with some assistance. Definitely cool. Almost makes me wish we had something like this for the main campaign, honestly. And you can even release some of the lab's experiments to help clear a room as well. So I'm a little confused why these Terrans have a bunch of captive Protoss and Zerg. Might as well go with what's been working for us so far. As we continue to explore the lab, it seems like whatever they were working on here is pretty ugly. Seems like they've been trying to perfect some sort of organism and then cloning it over and over again in order to try and manipulate it to the point that they can get exactly what they're looking for. Well, that's a big, fragile generator you got there. I wonder what happens if we blow it up. Oh, it releases the last seal keeping Cthulhu chained up. So, yeah, it turns out that the humans are the ones that end up creating the Zerg-Protoss hybrids called the Abominations that will ultimately end up destroying the future. Great! Well, looks like we're gonna have to run for our lives again as it proceeds to go wrecking the base. And this is one of the better mid-level switches. We've done a few run-for-your-life missions before, but this one is exceptionally well executed with the hybrid providing a great threat. And it is a skin-of-your-teeth escape the whole way through, even when we get to the obvious alien homage later on. Oh, and there's the Queen! I guess this was aliens, not alien! But eventually we're able to find our way to the level exit and escape with our lives. Whew! That was a scary but fun level. So let's talk about it since we have to keep the spoilers all confined to here. For all that the level is absolutely stellar, and I'm sad that it wasn't part of the main campaign, especially since I think the being able to use various environmental elements to help you through the level is awesome and should have been done a hell of a lot more. I do have to say I feel a little frustrated that the defense forces don't seem to be more proactively reacting to you. Rather, they're just little puzzles that you have to solve along the way. The reveal that it's the Terrans that end up creating the Abomination is kind of cool, and is great setup for the next game, and the escape from the hybrid Berserker itself is just so much fun. I cannot gush enough about this level. And for everybody else coming back at the timestamp. And that's why this level is clearly a reference to Kill Bill, one of the best Quentin Tarantino movies. Well done, Blizzard. I'm impressed. But with that out of the way, it's time for us to go to the Zerg home world of Char and take the fight to Kerrigan. And it's so dramatic that the game even goes, "Are you sure you want to do that, buddy? Because there ain't no going back if you do."
but I think we'll have fun. Let's do this.